In this movie, we'll add doors and windows to our 2-bedroom condominium. I've got a completed version of the wall layout on screen, and I'm going to start adding doors and windows using the tools here on the ribbon. So I'll start with the door command. Shortcut for that is DR if you prefer. And if I open up the type selector, I actually have 3 families loaded in this file. Now, the M single flush was already here with the template, and I could certainly choose from among its types. I've also preloaded in the M door interior single flush wood panel, which is a slightly different version of a single flush door than the one that was in the template. And I've also got a bifold 2-panel door here. So I'm going to show you how I loaded these in just a few moments, but let me go ahead and start with this M door interior single flush wood panel. And I'm going to choose the 900 by 2400 millimeter size to place the entrance to the condo. So the entrance to the condo is right here on this small angled wall. And notice that, of course, we've talked about this before, but you can't place a door just in free space. A door always has to be placed on a wall. So when I move my mouse on the wall, the door will start to appear. We call this hosting in Revit. So a door requires a wall host. And if you look actually at the status bar, the message down there, it says, click on a wall to place a door. So it kind of tells you that you must click on a wall. Now, if I move my mouse subtly in or out of the plan, you can see it will flip the door either to the inside or to the outside. So I'm going to have the door swing in, and then using that small little temporary dimension that appears, you can see that I'm 200 millimeters off the corner. So I like that. I'm going to go ahead and click to place that first door. Now, if you move your mouse at the last second when you place it, this is a temporary dimension, and you can always click right in there and type in 200 to make sure that it's in the location you want. Now I'm going to change the size to a slightly smaller door. I'm going to do an 850 millimeter wide door, and I'm going to place the rest of the single swing doors that I want. So I want one here going into this bedroom, and notice that when I kind of move my mouse up so that it's swinging into the bedroom, that there's actually a dimension on either side, and it will try and center itself. So I kind of like that. I want it to be centered in that room. So I'll go ahead and click there. And then in this case, it's still centering, but of course, it's flipping the wrong way in the room here. Now, I don't really like it being centered necessarily in this case, so I'm going to move over slightly, and notice that it's snapping in 100 millimeter increments. This is tied back to that snap behavior that we talked about in an earlier movie. So that works with doors just as well as it does with walls. But what I want to do here is look again at the status bar and notice that it says in parentheses that you can use the space bar to flip the instance left or right. So if I just tap my space bar, it'll flip that door to a more comfortable position so that we can actually enter the room. And I'll go ahead and click to place it. I'll place another one here at the center of this wall. Place another one here 100 millimeters off the corner in this closet. Place one right here 200 millimeters off the corner there. Tap my space bar to flip it. And that's the remainder of the single flush doors that I want to place. Now I'll come over here to my type selector and I'll change to the bifold 2-panel door. And I'm going to choose the 915 by 2032 millimeter size. And I'm going to place one right here, and right here. Now let me cancel out of there for a minute, and you'll notice that I was a little sloppy about the one that I placed here and that it's flipping inside the closet instead of outside. Just zoom in slightly there to show you. I wanted to do that to show you that it's easy to modify these afterwards. So don't feel like you have to undo or erase or start over. Now it did center in the space, which is fine. Okay, so I can accept that. But notice that it's got these 2 little flip grips right here, and I can easily use that flip grip to change it after I place it. You can actually also tap the space bar and it will flip through 4 possible conditions. So using whatever technique you like, you can go ahead and adjust the position of that bifold door to make sure that it's in the correct location. Same thing is true with each of these. You can edit the temporary dimensions and position those to your liking. So I'll put this one at 200 millimeters. So once we've placed those doors, I need a larger door here, maybe a sliding door for the closet, and I want a double door here going out to the patio. So let me show you how I preloaded those doors that were already here in the file. If you go to the door command, you can come over here on the ribbon and there's a load family button. When you click that, it will display the load family dialog and it will take you to your default library. Now in my case, it went to the Imperial library by default. So I'm going to click this up 1 level folder here to jump back a step And then I'll notice that I have a metric library here. And in the metric library, I have a doors folder. Now there's some doors loose in that folder, and then there's also some subfolders. So I'm going to go into this residential subfolder here. I'm going to take this one, this double exterior glass door, and then I'm going to hold down my control key and select this one right here, the double sliding 2-panel door. That means that it's going to actually load both of these families when I click open. And then these families use something called a type catalog. Now, a type catalog is used when there's lots of types to choose from, and you may not necessarily want to load all of them. So what you can do in this table here is find the sizes that you're interested in. So for the interior double sliding door, I'm going to choose maybe the last 3 sizes here. So I'm just going to click and drag through those. And then for the exterior door, I'll do the same thing and click and drag through those. Now, when I click OK, what you're going to see is that on the type selector, it will only have loaded those 3 sizes I asked for instead of the entire list. Now, you certainly could do the entire list if you wanted to, but that usually increases file size. And if you're not going to use those other sizes, then it's a good idea not to do that. So anyway, let me choose the largest size here, and I'll go ahead and place this door centered in that space right there. And then let me choose the sliding door, and I'll choose the intermediate size here, and I'll center it on the closet like so. Cancel out of the command. Now, once you know how to add doors, you know how to add windows. They're added in exactly the same way, including all of the positioning steps that we did and loading the families, everything that we've just looked at. So I'm going to click the window tool. And when I open up the type selector here, I find that there's only one window loaded, and it's a fixed window, which is probably not the best choice for a condominium. So I'm going to go directly to the load family button that we just looked at. Again, I'm going to go up 1 step to my metric library, scroll down and find my Windows folder, and then choose a more appropriate type. So in this case, I'll choose a double casement window with trim, click open, and then that loads 3 types in this case. So I'm going to choose this size right here, the 1220 by 1220 millimeter, and I'll place one in this bedroom, place one in this bedroom, and maybe one in the kitchen right here. So adding doors and windows is a simple matter of making sure that the families that you need are loaded into the file, and then you just simply need to click on a wall to place them. Remember that the tricks that we used with temporary dimensions work equally well with doors and windows. And also remember that you can use your spacebar or the flip grips to reorient the doors and windows as necessary.